Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to chat with you about 5 books that I thought I would read this year and for some reason I did not. And this is something that I already did last year. So I thought it would be fun to start out with the video of last year and see which of these books that I was surprised I hadn't read in 2021 I did read this year and how it went. So let's check in with the list of last year first. So the first book I mentioned last year was Normal People by Sally Rooney. I'm glad to say that I have read this book this year and it went reasonably well. So I gave Normal People 4 stars in the end. I enjoyed it, but I don't see myself ever rereading it, so I actually already get rid of it. Then the next book I mentioned was Wild Women and the Blues by Danny S. Price. I have also read this book. Unfortunately, it did not go so well because this was a 5-star prediction and I actually only gave it 3.5 stars because I was unfortunately kind of disappointed by it. So I have already unhauled that one as well. Then the next one is How Beautiful We Were by Mbolo Mbue. This one also went quite well. In the end, I also gave it 4 stars. This is a book that was also a 5-star prediction, so giving it 4 stars was kind of a disappointment. And I am still struggling whether I want to continue reading this author's works, because they always start out so strong, but then something happens that pisses me off, and it's usually some sexist thing. So yeah, I'm kind of on the fence about this one. Then the next one was Empire of Sand by Tasha Suri. I already read this one, and I think out of all of them, this is the one that I had the best feeling about after reading it. And I didn't have the super highest expectations, and I think that's also why I wasn't disappointed with this one. In the end, I gave this one 4 stars and I even got the sequel. But since these are companion books and they don't immediately follow each other, I think I will read the sequel next year. So I can stay in this world a little bit longer. And I'm pretty sure that I will continue reading Tasha Suri, to be honest. And then the last one on last year's list is gonna be the first one on this year's list, because I'm gonna start out with The Shameful, which is The God of Lost Words by A.J. Hackwith. Now, I could say that, you know, with all these 5-star predictions I had being just a little bit meh, I didn't want to go into this one because this is also a 5-star prediction for me. But if I'm completely honest, the reason why I haven't gotten around to this one is that I want to reread the first 2 books in this series, The Library of the Unwritten and The Archive of the Forgotten, before I go into this last book. And yeah, rereading just takes a lot of time that I simply didn't have because I had other reading goals that I prioritized over this one. So this is still on the list. I still have not read this book and I feel horrible because I want to read it so bad. This is one of my favorite series and I just need to know how it ends. I want to know that all of my favorite characters are gonna be okay. So I will definitely make this a priority for next year, because this cannot be on the 2023 list as well. Then I will just, I don't know, stop reading altogether. Now in this book we are following characters from a magical library that is in hell, and this library holds all the books that were never written, and the task of our main character is to take care of these books and make sure that none of these unwritten characters do escape. And in the first book we have one of these characters escape, and that sets off a whole lot of things, and I have no idea what this last book will be about because the second one opened up the world quite a lot, and so this one could go wild and I'm ready for it. So this next one is also a continuation of a series, and so the same reason applies as with this one, that it would just take time to reread the first book, and I just don't have that time right now. But that is Our Violent Ends by Chloe Gong. Now, I gave the first book, These Violent Delights, 3.5 stars, but I've heard really good things about the sequel, so I definitely want to get to it. But these books are big, and yeah, I just haven't had the time to reread the first one, and I want to give this one a fair chance, and I think you can only do that if you've reread the first book, especially since my memory isn't that great. So yeah, this one is still waiting for my time, but I hope so much that I can get around to this duology next year, because we already have a spin-off series. The first book came out this year, and I feel like I'm missing out, because I definitely think that Chloe Gong could be a author that I really enjoy, especially if she expands on her like character work and just her writing in general. I think at some point she could be one of my favorite authors. So yeah, I need to read this, I really do. Now in this first book we are following basically Romeo and Juliet, but it is set in the 1920s in Shanghai, and we do have magic, and it deals with quite like gruesome stuff. So if you're like easily scared, you don't like weird creepy crawlies, I don't think this is for you, but yeah, I just really want to read this. Because yeah, I just need to. So from the sequel to the prequel, a book that I did not expect I would read this year, but which has become one of my like most anticipated books of the year. And there might still be a chance I get to this, but let's be honest, I probably won't. This is Bitter by Akwaeke Emezi. Now, Pet I have read in January this year, and I fell in love with it. It is, I think, my second 5-star read I had this year. Absolutely fantastic. And then I found out that the prequel about the mother of our main character and Pet is coming out this year, so I bought it. And it looks fantastic. I love the cover. It's so stunningly beautiful. And yeah, I just need to read this. But I think what I will actually do is treat myself to a reread of Pet in January and then read this prequel, because yeah, then it has been a year since I've read Pet for the first time, and I think that kind of feels nice. So that's my plan for this book for now. But yeah, I actually really thought that I would get to this quicker, but unfortunately that did not happen. In this book we are following a utopian world where there's no more monsters, or at least in the first book we did, and it dealt with the question of, are the monsters really gone, and what happens if a monster pops up again but everyone believes that they're gone. And so this one is a prequel, so I think this is set before the utopia was established, and we'll see. I'm very intrigued to learn about the main character's mother in this one. Now, to be honest, I have a ton of non-fiction books that I thought I would get to this year. I wished for a lot of books for Christmas, and unfortunately this year just has not been a non-fiction year for me, because I was so busy with work, and I feel like if I read a non-fiction book, I actually want to give it my attention, and that has just not happened this year. But the one I was absolutely most excited about, and I for sure thought I would get to this during my time off, it's Me and White Supremacy by Layla F. Saad. And yeah, unfortunately, I just didn't have the headspace to really focus on this book. And since this is kind of like a workbook as well, I think there is little tasks that you should do to accompany the reading. I just really want to do that. I want to give it my all. And so this year that just didn't happen. And yeah, if I want to read this, I want to give it like a fair shot. Like I want to really delve into it, because I think this is not the kind of book you just like browse through and then say you've read it. So let's hope I will find time for this next year. Obviously, as you can guess from the title, this is a book that is mainly written targeting white people that want to explore white privilege, what it means and what we can do about it. So yeah, I definitely want to read that. And with this last book, I'm gonna cut myself a little slack because it literally just came out. But this is my most anticipated book of the year. I've been waiting for this for so long, and you will guess what the reason is why I haven't read it yet. It is Bloodmarked, the sequel to Legend Born. and I'm so glad it's finally here. As I said, my most anticipated book of the year. And the reason I haven't read this yet, obviously, is because I want to reread Legendborn before I do that, just to have it all fresh in my mind. And as I said, rereading takes a long time. And so these are the kind of books that I usually just push into the future, where I will have magically more time and will reread. I don't know. But this is also something that I want to read like very early on next year. I'm so excited for this. I'm so sure that this will be one of my favorite series of all time. I hope this one holds up, but I've heard good things, and yeah, I'm just excited for it. So I'm gonna put this one at the end of the list. And there we have it, the 5 books that I really thought I would get around to this year, because most of these are 5-star predictions. Maybe except for A Violent Ends. I think this will probably be a 4-star, but yeah, that's my little list of shame. So let me know, what is a book that you thought you would read this year and then for some reason never got around to? I would love to hear about that. I hope you have some time for reading before the year is over, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!